Hello.
Hi.
Firstly, do you give consent for this interview to take place and for me to record it?
Yes,
Okay. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Could you introduce yourself a bit for us? How old are you? What's your major? And where are you from?
So my name is Eva. I'm 21 years old. I'm from Serbia, and I'm currently in my first year of college.
Great, thank you. Well, we'll talk about TikTok. So, how often do you use TikTok?
I would say every day.
And what type of content do you usually watch on TikTok?
Usually, it's influencers, fashion-related videos, cooking videos, and humor.
Nice. So, how frequently do you encounter fashion related content on TikTok?
I would say like every third one of the TikToks that I see is fashion-related,
Yeah.
so quite often.
And can you describe the types of fashion content that you find most appealing on TikTok?
So I would say definitely because of the TikTok algorithm, I'm exposed to a lot of TikToks about fashion that reflect my own personal style. So a lot of them kind of are talking about products, fashion items of clothing that are in the stores that I like to go to and that kind of influence you to buy these certain products, kind of telling you, oh, these special jeans fit tall girls. So yeah.
Yeah. And do the fashion trends you follow in the Netherlands differ from the ones you follow in your home country? If yes, how so? Do you like dress different here than in your home country?
Yes, that's for sure. I've grown up in UAE, so there it's a lot more conservative and just a different type of style. It's more modest. It's um, yeah, just different kind of clothing. Whereas here, I feel like it's more not revealing, but more like open,
Yeah.
and also a lot of people here are not afraid to express their own personal style. There's definitely less judgment in terms of that. I feel like it's more diverse with the different kinds of styles that are here. So I would say since I've come here, I've changed my style to be more experimentative and yeah, more unique, but also kind of match the trends that are going on here.
Yeah, sure. Um, do you follow any specific fashion influencers on TikTok? If so, who are they and why do you follow them?
I wouldn't say I follow very specific ones that are only tailored towards fashion. I would say they're mostly like influencers of everything, and then they kind of do fashion on the side and influence you. But I wouldn't say very specific ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, how often do you try new fashion trends you see on TikTok?
I wouldn't say that often because I feel like I'm not one to keep up too much with the trends. Maybe I'm more of like a classic person, so I do like to know more about like pieces that fit my style, but not necessarily trends.
Yeah. And how has your personal style changed since you started using TikTok? If it changed.
I would say maybe it has actually become more homogenous in a way, like kind of wearing similar things a lot of the rest of the world are wearing because it's just what comes up on my feed a lot, and I see like what everyone's wearing, and it kind of influences me to wear similar things. So yeah, I would say less. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you give an example of a fashion trend from TikTok that you have incorporated into your wardrobe?
Like a trend,
Yeah, or it could just be like,
I would say maybe the new leopard print
okay.
that I didn't used to like that much before, but now
Yeah.
I kind of do because it's become a little bit more of a trend.
Yeah, me too. Have you ever bought clothing or accessories after seeing them on TikTok? Can you describe the experience?
Yes, because I feel like a lot of the times maybe it's difficult for me to find jeans which are long enough for my height and fit me well. So when I see other influencers post about specific jeans that fit them and they're also my height and where exactly they find these jeans, it influences me to kind of look for these and buy them as well because maybe I would have a harder time if I were to go to the shops and look for hours for specific jeans that fit me instead of knowing that these ones
Yeah.
will be there.
Do TikTok trends influence your decisions when shopping for clothes? Maybe you kind of said it, but if you can.
Yeah, but I feel like I do like kind of. I'm conscious when I am shopping for clothes. Like, is this what's trendy these days, or is it something that's maybe outdated? So maybe I shouldn't get it, even though I think it looks nice.
Yeah.
Because, or maybe I see something that I really like, but then I'm like, oh, but this might just be a trend for a few months, and then after that, it might go out of fashion, and then what use would this item of clothing
Yeah.
have for me later?
How do you think TikTok has changed your perception of fashion and style?
Definitely, I realized since being on TikTok and seeing all these fashion trends, I definitely realized how susceptible people are to these trends and how easily influenced they are for sure, including myself, because I would say some things I really would have found quite ugly before. And then just the more people you see on TikTok wearing them, it just influences you to think that these things look nice. So it just really shows how our perceptions are so easily influenced.
Yeah. Do you think that TikTok made you feel more informed about fashion and trends?
Yes, I would say that's the main source of where I get my fashion inspiration.
Okay. And do you feel more confident in your fashion choices because of TikTok? Why or why not?
I would say yes, I do, because also there's on TikTok there's a lot of normalization of like mixing different colors together and stuff like that, which maybe wouldn't have been that acceptable before. So yeah.
Do you engage with fashion related TikTok content? For example, likes, comments, shares? If so, how often?
Yeah, likes, also saves if I want to
yeah.
keep something to remember where to get it or stuff. But I wouldn't say I comment in TikToks really.
About shares? Do you like share
Yeah,
with your friends?
with my friends sometimes. Yeah.
Okay. And have you ever participated in a fashion challenge or trend on TikTok? Can you describe it? Maybe you produced content or
No,
no?
no, I'm not. I'm not active on
I'm not a
TikTok.
content creator.
Not a content creator.
Okay. How does fashion content on TikTok compare to other social media platforms you use, such as Instagram or Pinterest?
I think it's definitely different to Instagram because on TikTok I feel like it's more kind of accessible for everyone. Most of the kind of clothing that they show on TikTok, they want people to engage with it a lot, so they would a lot of the times post like maybe, oh, this is like a really affordable thing or new I don't know, sustainable shop or something, whereas on Instagram it's more about kind of gatekeeping these brands, and on Instagram everyone just wants to have like the most unique clothes that nobody else has, so a lot of the times they don't even say where it's from when they post the picture or something.
What about Pinterest?
I don't really use Pinterest. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Do you prefer getting fashion inspiration from TikTok over other sources? And why?
I wouldn't say, maybe in terms of social media, yes, but my preferred way of getting inspiration is like just seeing people around a university or yeah, in my classes, or yeah, seeing how they dress and kind of yeah, acquiring style through that. But in terms of social media, I would say TikTok, yeah, is my preferred one.
Um, have you ever felt overwhelmed or pressured by the fashion trends on TikTok? Can you elaborate? Maybe you felt like you have to participate, or it was just too much for you to be exposed to so much content.
Mm, maybe I have felt kind of pressured to keep up with specific trends. For
Yeah.
example, I would say in the past, there was this one instance I can think of that before I was really obsessed with skinny jeans and I really liked how they looked on me, but everyone was talking about on TikTok it kind of became like a trend to make fun of people who wear them and like kind of be like, who even wears them
Yeah.
anymore? So it definitely pressured me into not wearing certain things that aren't in trend anymore, even though maybe I would have wanted to.
Yeah, maybe you felt embarrassed to wear
Yeah.
skinny jeans because
Yeah.
everyone thought it's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you critically evaluate the fashion content you see on TikTok? Maybe like this situation.
Mm, definitely, I know that things go out of style and come back to style so quickly from what I've seen, how fashion trends move extremely fast, also because overconsumption these days and just everyone buying one-time use clothing. So I definitely always keep in mind that even if I do like a certain trend, I'm like, well, this will probably go out of style very soon, so maybe it's not the best to invest in this certain clothing right now.
Yeah. And how does TikTok help you express your identity through fashion?
Definitely, I feel like TikTok has created kind of a space where people categorize themselves into fashion categories, from like the basic girls or like the more
Okay.
alternative. So, yeah, I feel like TikTok has kind of definitely made me place myself in certain groups rather than trying things from all different sort of categories.
Yeah. And have you discovered any new fashion brands or designers on TikTok that resonate with your personal style?
Uh, I cannot think of an example, but definitely yes, because I feel like a lot of the brands that I do like are mostly based online as well, which you before my preferred method of shopping was in real life, and a lot of these nice clothing stores don't have real life shops; they are only online. So in that way, it has been easier for me to reach these and find out about these shops through TikTok, because if I don't see them at the mall or something, then maybe I wouldn't have known about this.
Yeah. Have you tried creating your own fashion related content on TikTok? If so, what was the experience like? I know you already said you are not a content creator, but maybe you tried it. I don't know.
Yes, I do actually. I do post for my close friends on TikTok, not publicly, but yes, not necessarily fashion related, but every time I do, I make sure that I like the outfit as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess that's kind of part of it.
Uh, and how does TikTok inspire your creativity in terms of fashion and style?
It encourages me definitely to try out things that I might not have liked before or even thought about. Because when people make it acceptable to wear something, then it encourages you to think whether you would like to wear that as well.
Do you think Do you think TikTok is changing the fashion industry? How so?
Yes, I think it's changing the fashion industry. I wouldn't say for the better so much, because it is promoting overconsumption and definitely one-time use, fast fashion. A lot of these things are promoted, and these fashion influencers just try to act as if they have the most clothes in the world, and they never repeat outfits ever. So it's definitely, I think, harming the industry by making, and also it's changed our perception of buying clothes. Now I feel like, because I know that some shops have very cheap clothes, maybe when I go to a shop that has slightly more expensive clothes but that I know the quality is better, in my head I'm like, oh well, I could just buy that in that cheap shop. So it's definitely changed our perception.
In what ways do you believe TikTok could could improve the fashion landscape?
I would say promoting more sustainable use of clothing, maybe promoting minimalism. I know there's been a trend of like those capsule wardrobes. I think that's a good thing to promote. Not that I necessarily participate in this, but I think it definitely is a good thing to promote, and yeah, just minimizing consumption.
How do you generally feel about the fashion trends you see on TikTok?
Um, I don't know if it's because I'm getting old, but I feel like recently I haven't been such a big fan of the trends. Um, Maybe because I think they're going towards a more like 80s, 90s inspired clothing, which is not my preferred time era. So
Um, and do you feel that TikTok fashion trends are inclusive of different body types, ethnicities, and styles?
in some cases, yes. I know. I mean, I guess these days on TikTok, everything is kind of represented in some way.
Yeah.
But I would say there's a lot of trends going around. I've seen certain influencers who make it a point to show whether an outfit is actually cute or if it just looks good on a thin body type. And then, as a plus size person, they try it on and they make a comparison. So in this way, I feel like it really makes us see if things actually look nice or if it's just tailored towards a specific body type. I would say some things that are in trend now, like specific types of pants, styles, and shapes, are maybe not as inclusive of different body types and maybe don't look as flattering on everybody. So yes, but at the same time, I feel like it is changing to be more inclusive because I feel like the amount of sizes that exist in uh, clothing shops that didn't before, and yeah, the size range and yeah.
Do you feel included or excluded by the fashion trends that appear on TikTok?
I would say I feel included. A lot of them cater towards my own personal style and the shops that I kind of have access to that I live in the Netherlands. So I feel included because um, it's kind of, there's nothing that excludes me in a way.
Can you still like think of an example that it's specifically something that includes you and something that or something that excludes you for both?
Okay, so for inclusion, I would say definitely the clothing's, the trends for certain body types. I would say that I have the body type that I feel like the clothes are kind of intended for the audience, for the specific audience, and that's why I feel included. I feel like there's no clothing that I couldn't buy because of the size limitations, so maybe that. Also because of my own personal like modesty values, I'm not someone who only wears completely covered clothing, so in that way I don't feel excluded from a certain range of clothing which is maybe like short or cropped or something.
Yeah.
For excluded though, I would say definitely the rise of more very expensive brands and more like luxury items of clothing, like that's certain celebrities maybe have their own brands, so from that I would say I feel excluded this way.
Yeah. How did that make you feel? Being excluded.
Not too good because some of the trends that I want to participate in, like let's say I'm gonna think of an example. Maybe I like the clothing from the brand Kylie
Yeah.
Jenner, and I really like how it looks. It's something trendy and stuff, but it is just out of my budget, so it definitely makes me feel like I can't participate.
Do you feel represented by the fashion influencers and trends you see on TikTok?
Yes, because as I say, I kind of put myself in this category of like like how TikTok has categorized the fashion groups, I put myself in the basic category, and that's why I feel represented because I feel like there's a lot of influencers who represent this specific style.
Yeah. How do TikTok fashion trends impact your body image and self-esteem?
For me personally, I feel like I don't base my body image off of TikTok fashion trends, but self-esteem sometimes, from what I've said earlier about wearing certain clothing based on whether it's trending or not. So in some aspects, yes, I would change my behavior based on what's trending.
Do you think TikTok promotes body positivity through its fashion content? Please explain.
I would say yes, definitely more than before. There's a lot of plus size influencers and many types of different people promoting different types of clothing on all types of body types and shapes. But at the same time, it can also be dangerous. For example, I know there's many influencers who are without realizing it, promoting eating disorders and things like that through their fashion trends.
Do you feel that TikTok fashion trends adequately represent different cultures and ethnicities?
No, I would say it's mostly Western centric. Most of the fashion trends are trends from the West and from the US specifically. Other cultures definitely don't get represented as much. And even when they are, it's kind of, in my opinion, a lot of the people would classify this as, rather than culture sharing, more like cultural appropriation. And I feel like a lot of it's kind of become a stigma now for cultural clothing to become a trend. It's more of
Yeah.
like a negative thing.
Following that, have you encountered any cultural appropriation issues in TikTok fashion trends? How did it make you feel?
Me personally, no, because I cannot say that my culture has ever, from what I've seen, been appropriated on TikTok. Actually, I could give an example of maybe the Slavic girl trend that was there a few months ago or a year ago, where girls would kind of dance to a specific Slavic song and yeah, pretend like they're a Slavic girl. But I wouldn't say this type of cultural appropriation was offensive to me in any way. I personally found it to be like a interesting trend. Yeah.
Yeah. How inclusive do you think TikTok fashion trends are regarding gender and gender expression?
I would say they're much more inclusive than they were before. I wouldn't say inclusive in general, but just more than before. I know now it's definitely way more acceptable on TikTok for people to cross dress on different genders, wear clothing that was originally made for a certain gender, and people mixing their fluidity and expressing it through their clothing. So yeah, I think it's becoming more normalized.
And are there any gender specific fashion trends on TikTok that you feel excluded from? Why? If you do.
I personally wouldn't say so. I can see why others may face this issue. Me personally, no, because I feel that the trends I'm participating or I'm interested in are made specifically for my gender. So in this case, I'm lucky. But I know that others might feel excluded. Maybe people who identify with the male gender who want to experiment with maybe makeup or something might feel excluded from these trends because they do not fit the corresponding gender.
Yeah. How do your friends and peers at Erasmus University influence your perception of TikTok fashion trends?
I would say we share content with each other. Kind of, I think how the algorithm works is that a lot of the people you follow might have similar For You pages as well. So I would say, based off of that, we might have similar experiences on TikTok from what we see.
Do you discuss feelings of inclusion or exclusion with your peers? What are common sentiments?
I would say I have talked about it before with my friends, especially what I mentioned earlier about the inclusion and how we feel that we are, in a way, lucky that our styles, personal styles, and choices of clothing are what is acceptable in this day and age and what is, in a way, trending. So we've definitely expressed our feelings of gratitude towards this.
Do you find TikTok fashion trends accessible in terms of affordability and availability?
I would say yes, because from what I've noticed in the past years, and I feel this has been the case very recently, is that when a trend becomes so popular, every single store starts to imitate it in some way, shape, or form. So, for example, a high end store might replicate the trend, and so might a fast fashion shop that has very affordable prices. And it's become a trend in of itself that fast fashion stores imitate almost exactly high-end stores. So yeah, I feel wherever you choose to shop, most of them would be accessible.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever felt excluded from a trend because it was too expensive or hard to find?
I wouldn't say so, because um, me specifically, I feel like there's never been something that I've wanted that specific enough that I cannot find or can only find an expensive version. Maybe I find something similar in a cheaper price range, or yeah, me personally, no.
Have you participated in any TikTok fashion challenges? Did you feel included or excluded in these challenges?
I personally haven't participated in any of these challenges, but maybe, I don't know if this counts, using specific filters that are trending, or I guess that's a form of
Yeah.
fashion in a way.
How do these challenges impact your sense of belonging within the TikTok community, even though you consider yourself not fully participating?
I would say they make me a part of the TikTok community. It makes me, yeah, feel as though I'm the same as everyone else who's doing it. Yeah.
How do the influencers you follow on TikTok contribute to your feelings of inclusion or exclusion?
I would say they contribute to my feelings of exclusion in a way. I mostly follow influencers who are from the US, or yeah, countries far away from mine, and who have obviously different lifestyles that are unattainable for me. For example, I don't know, the going out, going to red carpets, stuff like that. It contributes to my feelings of exclusion, because I am not a celebrity who can go to a red carpet and wear a huge gown and stuff. So in a way, it excludes me from some type of fashion, that's for sure.
Do you think influencers on TikTok do enough to promote inclusivity in fashion? Why or why not?
Mm, I feel like it really depends on the specific case. Um, I think they're trying to market it as them being inclusive and promoting it to everyone, whereas I feel like if that were the case, then they wouldn't have as much of a audience as they do, because they're kind of, what they sell is the fact that they are on a different level than you, and that's why they're able to influence you. If they would be selling the fact that they are the same as you and everything they do is attainable to you, then they wouldn't be influencers in a way. They would be the same as you.
Have you ever provided feedback or commented on the inclusivity of TikTok fashion trends? What was the response?
I personally haven't commented, but I have thought of it. So, like, if I see a celebrity showing some high-end designer or something they've gotten custom made, and they're saying where it's from and how much it was, it kind of makes me think that there's no point in that. It's for no use other than to establish this us versus them mentality.
How do you think TikTok could improve in terms of making fashion trends more inclusive?
I would say just keep working on promoting things that are accessible to everyone. I would say more culturally diverse fashion trends without cultural appropriation, so just inspiration from different cultures and maybe trying to include them as well. Also keeping in mind that other people live in different cultures where not everything is socially acceptable. So
Do you think that advertisements that fashion brands have on TikTok are inclusive?
I would say recently, yes. I know a lot of the times now they're trying to utilize models which are very diverse in terms of race, ethnicity, shape, gender, everything, sexual orientation. So in that way, I feel like they're trying to make it more inclusive by um, making everyone feel represented in these ads.
Do you think that the fashion brands have enough collaborations on TikTok with minorities or people that might not be a typical beauty standard?
No, not enough. There definitely has been an increase over the years, but I would say not enough for every single minority to feel represented.
Are there any brands that you think do a particularly good job of being inclusive in their TikTok campaigns?
I would say maybe Nike. Um, I know they're quite good with representing people who are not able-bodied or have different disabilities. Also, for many years they've been representing the people of different races and now even sexual orientations. So I think they're good at making it a bit more inclusive, especially through their TikTok advertisements.
How do you hope TikTok fashion trends will evolve in terms of inclusivity in the future?
I would say less reliance on trends, more like relying more on individual expression and individual preferences of clothing, and kind of stop relying on so much overconsumption and trends which are last for only a certain amount of time.
What changes would you like to see on TikTok to make fashion trends more inclusive for everyone?
I would say specific trends for people of different maybe body types, so that they feel that they don't have to conform to a specific kind of mold of clothing, and that they can have their own trends or their own kind of. The same goes for people of different races, different nationalities and stuff.
And are there any fashion trends on TikTok you hope will become more popular?
I would say maybe I know recently it's become kind of like a trend to dress very differently and to kind of mix and match colors, which might have not been so like accepted in the past. But I like this trend. I think it promotes creativity and individualism in people, and I think that's a good trend that should keep happening.
All right, thank you so much for this interview.